last president was invited by the PSUV, and we were invited as intellectuals in the defense of the peace. And Italia Atencio saying that over 30 supermarkets that today will be inaugurated. And you were also talking about a minority that is always shrinking, and the surveys are saying 4%, a minority that is out asking for invasions. And some voices are coming from the opposition president. And I want to quote two different news, one from Digital Avocado that says Alberto Galindo is calling to defeat the war callings with the exercise of politics and sovereignty. And another base, Chuo Torrealba, this political analyst and ex-secretary, says that Venezuela is a republic that solves problems and in a very difficult situation continues to be tremendously feasible. What Donald Trump is looking is for the Venezuelan petroleum, and when we see statements like this, statements that come from an opposition that we could call democratic, that is not asking for invasions, that believes in the electoral process, something also seems to be happening in the Venezuelan people. It is very clear that there's a new powerful consensus, the consensus of defending our country from foreign threats and imperial ones. There is a new consensus to defend the identity of the Venezuelan. Venezuelans are not delinquents nor members of any train. We are people that work, that have a culture. We have joy, prosperity. We have families with cordialness. We're beautiful people. There's a consensus to defend that character, that dignity, and there's a consensus to condemn the option, the adventurous option, and warmongering that the group, the most extremist group that was defeated during 26 years of the oligarchy of the last names pretends to the country. That is a consensus, as I was saying yesterday in the activity of the great march, the beautiful one of the resistance for the October the 12th. I was saying it yesterday, and all of the international media were picking it up. I was saying some of these, I picked some of the surveys with highest credibility, and some journalists like El País from Spain, their qualified Venezuelan surveys, is the only newspaper in the world who does it. El País from Spain, it qualifies a survey because they don't believe in those options. I read everything and I pay attention to everything, but these surveys, the most credible ones and the most powerful and scientific ones, some of them international, they point those consensus. Over 90% of the country rejects the calling for an invasion, rejects the threats of the government of the United States, and over 90% of the country says that what the U.S. wants is our petroleum, our richness. If Venezuela didn't have that petroleum richness, then it wouldn't be a topic. But now it's a characteristic for those who listen to us in the world that two leaders, successful ones of the Venezuelan opposition, have that opinion, and I want to highlight that. I want to put a line under it, a line under each one of their statements. It is very true. Alberto Galíndez, governor that was elected in a state that was very Chavista, Cojedes in the valley, who is speaking with the primary leader of the opposition that is building themselves, the new opposition. He's an oppositionman. I know him. It is a person with which you can talk to, but he's a man with very clear and firm opinions of opposition to the government of the Bolivarian Republic. He was the opposition to Commander Chavez, but he was the governor elected in a state that was very pro-Chavez, and he is a leader. He is not financed by any embassy. And he doesn't answer to foreign interests that pretend from the outside to say who should govern Venezuela, first with Guaido, and then we also know the other stories. And the other one who says it, Jesus Torrealbas, also had electoral success, is the only one that has won a national election. He was the boss of the table of democratic unity, and I always say it, he won. And I would say something else. I did not like him because I saw him as a person that was thought very high of himself, and since he beat us, I thought even worse of him. He won in 2015, and then in 2016 he participated in dialogues between the opposition and the Bolivarian government, and I met him, and I thought of him as a person of ideas that were clear and very firm. We had very strong debates when we first met with the presence of several international facilitators. So it is talking the leader, the electoral leader that the opposition of Venezuela now has, and also the leader that gave the great victory of 2015. It is something without symptoms. Whoever wants to see it, they have to open their eyes, as someone would say. Who wants to listen, he should open their ears. That's a new reality, and I would say the most highlighted thing in that reality is that there is a national consensus to defend the right to peace and the future of Venezuela, which is the most important thing over any political or ideological difference. And Chugo Torrealba said, I don't know, and I'm quoting, I don't know exactly what does Trump want, but I do want what he doesn't want. He doesn't want to fight drug trafficking. Trump has in his hand the statistics of the DEA, the UN, and his own intelligence sources that said that the drug that circulates in Venezuela is between 5 and 13% of the drug that is consumed in the US, and it comes out in its majority through the Pacific of places like Ecuador. That is something that Trump knows, and the world also knows. It is the truth in the face of the false narratives of attacking Venezuela. Venezuela is not a country of drug traffickers. It is not a country that is relevant even to the conduct of the cocaine that is produced in South America, in Colombia, and Peru. And the United States knows these facts. So the United States, since they can accuse Maduro of Venezuela of having biological or chemical weapons or mass destruction weapons, then they accuse it of a falsity that is even worse, because it is proven in the statistics of the UN, of the Customs Association, the European Union, and the statistics of the United States itself. So it is a great truth. That is why there's great consensus. I could say that from these threats, these military threats, where they have put 8 destructor ships, 1,200 missiles, 1 nuclear submarine. It is an incredible thing. Incredible. And where every day they add new numbers. It was 40,000 soldiers, now they have 10,000 soldiers, and those will keep growing. A new country has happened, a country that loves peace and it rejects any kind of aggression.